Hello, hello, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. Today's video coming up is something that you guys need to watch because you're not going to believe this. You're really not going to believe what happened. Stay tuned. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that, as a person or a foreigner here in the Philippines, you got to be aware of some things that you really need to watch and take care of because when you're buying property or purchasing a car or things like that, you need to make sure you have your P's and Q's together and all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. The reason why I'm saying this is a friend of mine that lives in Davao built this really beautiful place. He bought, it was like a little over 2 hectares of land, and he built this really gorgeous, beautiful home. And this home is like 4 or 5 bedroom. It has just really, really nice. It has a lanai out back. It has, when you go out on a deck from his bedroom, it's got really everything. It's got 5 air conditioners in it. Instead of central air, and he just put them in the rooms that's needed. So for an example, you're sitting in the living room, you can actually close off all the doors and just turn on the big unit it has and cool off that room. And he has them all going. He has them all going. He's worked so hard in his life, and he has availability. Probably about 60% of the house is on solar. Spent about $4 grand getting solar up. So he has power outage, boom. He has all that he needs to keep himself cool. Now that's another good point that I'll do another video on. For an example, yesterday, 4 brownouts. 4. Lasted an hour. On average, we lost 4 hours yesterday. The first one was 2 hours. And so you can see how important, even in Davao, his electricity went off 3 times this last week. So it's things like this you got to be prepared for because you're not living in a country that the grid is 100%. Even in U.S., we all take a lot of things for granted. Our foods, our electricity, our water, things like that. Here, you got to make sure that you have all those taken care of. Bring a filter system. Make sure you have some type of solar or generator to supply the house. The problem with the generator is this. If they set for a period of time, they'll crank up, they'll run. But if it gets a year and a half, 2 years, a friend of mine said the same thing. I spent, 3-4 grand on one, had it installed, and he said now the thing is sput when he loses power in Bohol. So, and of course, solar is like anything else. You got to clean the panels, make sure you have good lithium batteries or some type of good battery setup. I just bought panels yesterday on sale at Alibaba, and they were, I bought 300 watt panels. Get this. For $25 each. Delivered here is going to be $25 delivered here. So it can cost me $100 for 900 watts. So, but getting back what I was talking about, he has this beautiful house. It's set up. He has a small generator. If the solar panels are light, he put a small wind turbine. He took my advice and started. He's a good friend. He took my advice, did everything I suggested, and did it, and he's happy and did it. But there's one thing he didn't do that I suggested he do, is make sure that you have full title of the property. He got the title, he went down, he had it surveyed, did all this stuff, but they just went ahead and started building. And he did not have full title of the property. In other words, what I mean, he didn't have all the family agree upon this particular property that they were purchasing. It's from his wife's family. Now the brother, since he has all this, he's probably spent $2 million on his house. You guys would not believe it. Drive around driveway, big canopy over the top, swimming pool. He's got the works. But, and the swimming pool, salt water, he put it in, and He hired a company there in Davao. They come by and keep it clean and this, that, and other. But the thing that's got him now is now the brother-in-law has come to him and says, hey, I didn't really sign off as this. This property's still mine, so this house is mine. So what do you do in that instance? Okay, well, you fight him in court, and you have the wife or the sister fight him. So in that instance, how do you handle that situation? What would you do? Well, they've gone back and forth and went to the attorney. And the guy basically says, hey, it's mine. So do you pay him off, which that's what he's looking for, or do you say, okay, here, just take the house? Well, you can't really say that. Take the land. So the wife negotiated with her brother and came upon a conclusion. He wants $20,000. He wants $20,000 US, which is 1 million peso. So do you fight it, or what do? You go to court? Well, one thing he didn't do in the beginning was make sure everything was signed, sealed, and deeded, and the blueprints were recognized and deeded and dated. A good engineer, and have everything, all the P's and Q's, and take it down to the ROD, so you can get that register of deeds, and get that registered, and then pick up the documents, whether it took him 1 month or 6 months or 2 years to get those documents back. He should have done it. Now, it can take up to 2 years, but some people get it within 6 or 8 months or a year. But in his case, he just went ahead and started building, thinking everything was good, the family was good, the brother-in-law was good. But as the brother-in-law saw that this house was being built, the brother-in-law says, hey, man, he's got a swimming pool. He's got a swimming pool. How many people here have swimming pools? And it's a nice sized pool. Salt water, nice setup. Solar. With a heater. And in a lot of cases, you need the solar with the heater, at nighttime, things like that, because it can get chilly at times, especially where he's at. He's over there on the coastline, or coastline there in Davao, and the winds come off there, and it can get chilly. So he's in that situation. So what do you do? So I think, really, in that situation, he's thinking his best interest is just to go ahead and pay the guy off. They negotiated it down. They negotiated it down. That's the problem with the other. He negotiated it down to $20,000. So now the guy says, okay, I'm negotiating this down. Give me $20,000. I'll sign all the documents. I'll get everything all squared away, and I'll get out of your hair. So the guy says, well, I'm really reluctant paying him the $20,000. And I said, well, it's probably better to either cut the cord with the guy. You don't have a choice. You're here, and either you pay him or you walk away. You start over, live in an apartment, or build another house. So he's going to end up paying the guy off. So make sure when you do that, make sure everybody signs a piece of paper instead of the handshakes. My father and I grew up. My father, my grandfather, and in where I grew up and where I was raised, don't matter what the deal is. If I shake somebody's hand, even though it comes back on me and it costs me money because I shook the guy's hand, I'll honor that. And I've had to honor things that has cost me money, and a few $1,000s because of my maybe inexperience in that particular situation. But I honor it because my word is my bond, and it always has been. A lot of times what happens, you'll find that words here, you need to make sure that you sign on a piece of paper, have them sign the piece of paper, have it notarized in front of a notary. And then that way, if it's ever presented somewhere, you have everything covered. It's a little different in that aspect of, even in U.S. now, I made a deal with a guy to buy my RV. The guy says, yeah, I have to go get the cash, Tom. I didn't come with cash. I wasn't expecting to buy this thing. Okay, fine. Guy goes. I said, you need to come back within 2 hours, or I got too many people calling me on this RV. I must have priced it too low. Well, double, triple my money, and I had it for 6 years, so I thought it was okay. Well, come to find out, that particular unit, that particular model was really wanted because it had racing motors. It had a racing motor in the transmission. So the thing of it is, the guy came out of Jacksonville. Was on his way. He's about an hour and a half down where I live. He said I'll be there in about 40 minutes. I got cash. I said, okay. He says, what do you want for it? And does it still stand? I said, yeah, it stands. The guy never bought her. He never bothered me. And in other words, he never edged me down in price. He said, I'll take it as is. Which made me think, oh crap, I should price another, a couple grand. But at the spur of the moment, the guy says, listen, I'll double it right now. I said, what? He says, I'll double what the offer is. And I said, you'll double it? You've not even seen it. He goes, I'll double it and I guarantee it. He says, I'm right here on the interstate, and he said, I promise you, you'll have it. And I said, well, promise is a different thing than that. So what do you do, right? Long story short, the guy calls me. He says, yeah. I said, are you on your way? He says, yeah. I already picked up the money. I'm coming back. And he says, no worries. I got all cash. And he says, you don't have to worry about it. Well, they both ended up meeting at the same time. So the one guy comes over and he says, I don't even have to look at the thing. I want it. I'll pay you double than what this guy's paying. The guy says, I can't go back and ask more money. I already agreed to this. I said, listen. I told you the first guy, I said, my word is my bond. Now, am I stupid? Maybe. But my word is my bond. And that's the thing about what happened with this relationship with my good friend. Not only that, there's an additional piece of property on his property in Dabo that he has, that the guy has it also. I said, use that as your thing and switch it. Tell him you want that property too, and then that way it'll overcost your $20,000 you got to pay. He said, I never thought of that. I said, get that piece of property. I don't care if it's a 10 by 30 meter lot. Who cares? It's worth at least $2, $3, $4 grand, $5 grand. So take that, or $6 grand. Just take that, and it'll recoup some of your money. It's even got a house on it, so maybe worth more than that. A bamboo house. Nobody's there, because everybody didn't want to live there. They want to go get these big, beautiful houses somewhere else. I know I'm rambling on here, but long story short, I sold the RV to the first guy I committed to. Even though the guy from Jacksonville was there and had a wad of cash, he could choke a horse. Probably had, 50 grand in his pocket. So then I said to the guy, I said, I'm terribly sorry. I got to honor this gentleman because I shook his hand on it. And I said, I hope you understand me. He says, exactly the way I do business, and it always will be. And he said, I respect you for that, and I agree with you. He said, we're going to go have lunch. So all three of us went to lunch on the guy that had a lot of money. Come to find out, this guy is a big roller. What he does, he buys these RVs, takes them, and completely just refurbishes them into these magnificent pieces of art and resells them. He's got some that he sold for $2 million. Showed me pictures. And this RV that he wanted, he said, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And I had a friend that had one. Same year, different model. And so I turned my friend on to him. He went and bought that RV off my friend. My friend made like 10 grand. And of course my friend threw me back $1,000. So, but the thing of it is, you've got to be man of your word. You've got to trust your decisions. Even when I did this here, is everything always perfect? Well, you think of everything. I thought of earthquakes. I thought of lands. I thought of flooding. So I raised the earth here. I thought of this. I thought of hurricanes. I thought of that. I thought of this. I thought of that. Lightning storms. Lightning proof. Grounded. Everything. One thing I didn't plan for was earthquake. House holding up fine. Problem is, because of the earthquake shaking the septic, where the nozzles go into the drums, because of shake and all the weight, it caused it to get off center, and the things either broke or snapped, and I got to replace those, and it's going to be a job. Thank you very much for watching my videos. God bless everybody. I'll try to do more videos when I get to 100%. I'm running about 80 right now, but we will get her done. God bless.